Yeah, we needed that. That's perfect. All right. So I don't know, Nick. I think we're broadcasting.
You know what? That's what you want to hear, Mike. That's what you always want to hear.
We're on the air.
I think we're on. Yep. I think we're launching.
We're used to having someone else handle all the technical stuff for us, but so we're just kind of winging it right now. So I don't know. How's your off season going?
Great. You know, I was trying to think a few minutes ago. I was eating a bowl before the show of what the Patriots drain of me, life, and at the same time what they give to me as well. And I was trying to think, what's the one adjective I would choose to use to describe this offseason so far? And I think it would be manic, in so much as not from the team perspective, because it's not Belichick's job to manage the expectations and emotions of the fans, the many millions of Patriots fans, regionally and internationally. It's not his job to satisfy our curiosity or our wants and wishes. They're not collecting talent, as we know. They're not building a fantasy team. They're not in the business of making us happy. Hopefully, at the end of it all, if they are the one team that rules them all, then we'll be happier than any other fan base. And of course, that leads to the insufferability and the online criticisms of us. And that's what actually does make us happy. It's manic from our perspective, because I don't think that the fans think that the Patriots had, well, I think fans think they had a plan. I don't think fans believe they had the best plan for the fans' expectations, not for the team. And I think the arrivals have not met the departures in the sort of like sexy celebrity football status way that people wish they had. Last offseason threw a lot of people off. Big money, big signings, coming off the greatest Super Bowl win of all time. The back-to-back seemed only natural. And now they're back to good old-fashioned letting the stars depart, building that strong middle class, which is what the Patriots are all about. And then you mix that with all of the unusual dysfunction. Mr. Kraft had a kid. Is it his? Is it not? What happened with Ricky? We've got now we're talking about Brady and Gronk as planet players. Gronk might wrestle. Is Brady happy? Is he going to stick around in the long run? Episode 6 of Tom versus Time was like a 20-minute football version of the final 90 seconds of Empire Strikes Back. It's weird. It's very a manic offseason so far.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's crazy to me. It's just like nobody learns anything every offseason. And then I know that there's been certain moves that like are, the Adelius Thomas move. That was like surprising way back in the day where they just came out swinging, and Gilmore last year. But man, people just lose their minds every year. And it's just, I don't know if people just, if that's what they want out of their sports experience or what, but I just like, I find myself, I'm like, I can't engage with this. I spent too many years of my life answering these questions and like talking people off a ledge. And now I'm just like, you know what? Just jump. We'll see you never,
Oh no, you'll see them again. You'll see them again when they all rush through the gates to make it into the field. Oh, they'll say like, that's it, I'm done. From Belichick not playing Butler to the way they've gone about this offseason to not making Brady happy, trading Garoppolo for far below what we all believe his value should have been. That's it, I'm done. And then they'll all storm the gates at Helm's Deep in the middle of July when training camp opens up. They'll all be watching the game. Ratings will be through the roof. You can listen to sports radio. You can check the internet. The most clicks go towards, the most ears are trained onto the Patriots right now. They're more interesting than the Celtics, who could be making a title run, banged up as they are. They're more interesting than the Bruins, who are in position to make a Stanley Cup run. They're more interesting than the Red Sox, period. The Pats continue, as long as there's Brady, as long as there's Gronk, and as long as there's Belichick, the Pats will dominate the New England sports news cycle. If people are going to be like, that's it, they're going to freak out. Yeah, then all you have to, don't even reply. I would just point this way and just be like, history. Go read last year's blog entry. Go read 3 years ago. Go read 5 years ago. Go watch this previous video. because this is the way it always goes. It's doomed to repeat itself.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I mean, and there's just never a dull moment. Like I feel like in what universe is like a Super Bowl loss just like a speed bump in the like the grand scheme of the Patriots narratives, where it's like, and we lost the Super Bowl, and moving right on to Belichick is making all his players feel unappreciated and that kind of stuff. Like there's just like the Super Bowl loss was, I mean, yeah, everybody freaked out and the defense stinks and all that, but you know, it's just it's crazy to me. But we hopped right into the craziness. So, I mean, I don't even know where to start. I mean, do we start with the departures? I guess that's like probably the easiest place to kind of run things down, since we last did our somewhat drunken live show from the bar about a month ago, but it feels like that was a lifetime ago now.
It does. That was only a month and a half ago. I don't remember a Super Bowl loss that feels as far removed, less than 2 months away. Like 46 and 42. Just like they just like they were viruses. They weren't this one felt more like an infection. Like they lost, we treated it, it was gone, we've moved on. It still sucks. I mean, there have been reminders. It felt like a bad hangover. Like, you know what it is? It's like you get hammered on tequila, or you just have way too many gin and tonics one night, right? Then the next day you feel awful and you're like, I can never do it again. There's a different panacea for it. There's different balms and salves and cures, right? You could do a million different things to cure a hangover. But if you walk by a bar or someone else has gin or tequila anytime over the next like 3 to 6 weeks, 4 months, whatever, you smell it and you're like, oh my God. So little things, that's how I feel now. They remind me of Super Bowl Sunday. My kid talks about the Patriots and wears that same shirt. Son of a bitch. I watch Tom versus Time. It reminds me of what could have and should have been. You know, it's not supposed to be easy, but it's a good first world football problem to have.
You know what I've noticed with you, Nick, is that your big mistake drink is gin and tonics, huh? Like that's always the like drink where you're like, it's never, oh man, I had too many IPAs last night. It's always the gin and tonics that get you, huh?
Always the gin and tonics that get me, because they calm my nerves faster than any other drink, and they sneak up on me. They are.
Well, what free agent move hurt the most, as far as a departure hurt you the most? Well, or I mean, I think Solder was the one where I was like, all right, we gotta lock up Nate Solder, and they ended up, the Giants ended up making him the highest paid player, highest paid tackle in the league, $60 million.
$15.5 million a year, Mike. 15, and he's one of the 10 high. He's like, might be the high. Like, I think he's one of the 10 highest paid non-quarterbacks in the league, highest paid offensive lineman. And while we all love the idea that Brady, over his year, has had the continuity of only 2 left tackles, and it seemed like Solder was going to play as long as Matt Light did. At the same time, like when you're a Highlander like Brady and you're, damned to live forever, then at that point you're just going to watch people get old and move on and make different choices. Bound to happen. For another team to, in free agency, overpay to that degree, it just doesn't make any as good a football sense as it is to make sure that you hold on to your starting left tackle. At the same time, it makes no sense to pay him so much that you hamstring the rest of the team, because I think we can both agree they have many, many needs. And we're talking about the gaps and cracks, little holes where water leaked out. We're not talking about massive needs like, who's going to run the football next year? No, they have little needs. Again, strong middle class. And re-signing Solder at that money would not have enabled them to. I think Solder is the worst football departure, the worst emotional departure for Amendola.
Sexy departure. Sexy departure. We took a big hit there. And so, hey, Nick, I don't know if you can see this, but I've actually thrown a picture here up of Nate Solder
great,
on the screen.
So I can feel extra terrible. Yeah, great.
with his kid after they won the Super Bowl. So, and to everybody who's watching right now, we're just feeling this shindig out. And, as you can see, we're kind of on a stripped down version of the usual Patshow, but it's fun because we can talk from our own respective man caves. Nick's got a bunch of banners over his shoulders. I've got, you can see, we got the first 3 Super Bowls framed there, and that one over my shoulder.
Like your little nook.
Yeah, that's my wife. She put this all together for me. That one over my shoulder was from when I went to the 2006 AFC divisional round in San Diego. Had a ticket, so I've got a picture that I took, the ticket stub. She did all that. got a little helmet right there. So yeah, I mean, this is real. This is like, real Patshow. Usually we're on the nice set. Uh-oh, here comes a
Which
surprise.
is full
But
of
now
all
this is real.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
those
is
are
real.
your real shots. Yeah, yeah.
But I'm like I'm maintaining. I'm like look, my house is like my life, which is like my on-screen presence. It's a rolling, entertaining shit show. But I'm sort of curating what the man cave look is like. It's poorly lit. You're only seeing half of what I can show. There's a TV that I should definitely have a graphic on, but I didn't have time and the proper cables. But the set people normally see is full of a lot of the other keepsakes, tchotchkes, baubles, decorations, and doodads we have. Some of the other things that I have that I've never brought in because I didn't want to lose them are like this thing that I got when I hosted a party celebrating Super Bowl 51 for Zudi. They let everyone take pictures with the special guests, and they gave these to you framed on the way out the door. That's how with it our friends at Zudi are. Check this out. So I got a picture with me, Duran Harmon, Dola, and James White. And if you see right there, look, the only one who's not smiling. Look at the dead face on Dola.
That's what he looked like in the Miami video.
You did it, Ted.
Did you see that video that the Dolphins put out where it was Amendola like, hey guys, I'm really excited to be here and just excited to get going with Miami Dolphins. I think somebody saw it. It looked like a hostage video.
Yeah, that was what everyone wrote immediately. Like Bill Sparrows at Real OBF immediately tweeted out the 1 minute and 9 second one where he's talking to the reporter for Dolphins.com. That's the one. There's two. There's the 1 minute and 9 second long one, like, hey, dead face tan guy talking to like guy from every Elmore Leonard novel talking to Danny Amendola here. How do you feel about coming? Dola is completely emotionless. He looks like he's chewing gum. He looks like Ben Affleck in that video. Remember the one last year where Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill are doing a junket or 2 years ago for Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Terror?
Sure. Yeah,
and somebody realized there's a moment where Affleck sort of like stared off into space, and they digitally pushed in on him, and they started playing Sound of Silence. It was like, hello, dark.
How is that? Somebody's got to do that.
Oh, somebody's got to.
Oh man,
us.
It's probably us. I know.
I'm gonna put my brother, the editor and technical backbone of Town, onto that today. And
yeah.
Whoever's watching right now, whoever's watching after this goes up, if that happens, or you're watching live, new Shit Pats Fans Say video, off-season edition, filming this weekend. So keep your YouTube eyes trained on that. The other one Amazing. You talked about, Mike, the other video is that 12-second one where the Dolphins tweeted it out, and they're like, Dolphins fans, sound up. And it's Amendola looking right to camera for 12 seconds, like, hey, Dolphin fans, Danny here. Yeah, really here. Really looking forward to an awesome season. It's an honor, and this is great. So let's go. That's the same enthusiasm with which that video was performed and delivered. Holy shit!
The silver lining. Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's it. I mean, how many games do you think he actually plays? I mean, does he make it out of September when they, put him in for like 50 snaps the first three, every game starting in September? I mean, I think the only silver lining for me was that, we now, and both boys and girls can agree on this, we get now Danny Amendola and Olivia Culpo Miami Beach shots year round. Usually we have to wait to the off season for those, but now
the grand is going to be more delicious than ever. Yeah. I hate to say it, but Dola and the Culpo, which I'm sure is like, and there's got to be a name for their series that's got to be coming out sometime soon. If Jesse James and friggin' Eric Decker can have one, then Dola and the Culpo. What's our name for them? Is it the Dulpo or the Culpa?
Dulpo. I don't know. Dulpo's got a certain ring to it. I like that.
I can't, whatever the name is. I love that we're so obsessed with them that we love them so much. Of course, because it's Dola. Look what he did for us. Guy, the greatest postseason. Guy got himself triple the check for the postseason run that he had. Yeah, man, he just got paid. This is a chance for him to. He's not going to make the kind of difference Ray Allen made when he left and went to South Beach after all the money he made. He could have made the same money with the Celtics. He left to get away from Rondo and kind of do his own thing. Yeah. But for Dola at this point now, it's like, all right, tax-free state, more than double the money the Patriots were probably offering me. Now my girlfriend and I can go be well. He signed with Ford Modeling. She's in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. I don't blame him. And yeah, you're right. Gase wanted that Patriots perfume in the clubhouse, right? Because they've done a whole attitude reboot. They traded away Landry. They let Pouncey go. So all the guys that must have been toxic in the locker room have been kicked out. They pay way too much money for Albert Wilson. They pay a lot of money for Dola, and they're going to probably use him all the time from square one. No, he doesn't make it to Thanksgiving, because one of the best things that Belichick did, even when they needed him in absence of Edelman, was I play Dola when I need to, but he doesn't play all the time like crazy.
Yeah. How about the Dion Lewis one? I mean, I think we all saw that one coming. That one hurt. I mean, I just lament that they just never quite knew how to use him. And I think we saw it kind of near the end. I just thought their best offense last year was when they were giving the ball to him on early downs, and their most sputtery offenses when they'd open the game with James White. And I mean, I love James White for what he is, but that's exactly what they did in the Super Bowl. And I know it's hard to complain when you have that many yards of offense, but I just think, in the Super Bowl, had they, just used Dion Lewis a little more earlier, I think, the time of possession might have been a little different. You might have kept the defense off the field. And also, by the way, Dion Lewis was their most potent red zone weapon during the season with all, most touchdowns. So I just am bummed out that they could never figure out how to use him. Wish him the best. Who knows how he does in Tennessee? We know how that goes with the Patriots guys going elsewhere, but I don't know. I just don't know why they could never quite figure out how to use him. And when I wrote, I thought he was going to be the Super Bowl MVP if the Patriots won. And they barely used him. They had a couple spots here and there, and he made a difference. Same thing kind of with Burkhead, and I don't know. I just that one just kind of let him go. Good luck, but
Before we even go any further on Dion Lewis was great. I'm not going to sort of come at him so as to conveniently erase my feelings for him in a way like some people did when they got mad that he did his presser and said it's so great to finally have someone believe in him, or a lot of people haven't believed in him along the way. I'm pretty sure Belichick, Lombardi convinced Belichick to believe in you, and they believed him enough to sign him to a deal after he tore his ACL halfway through the 2015 season. I think they thought his body couldn't handle, even though he showed the ability to run between the tackles, to run off tackle, to go up the gut, to make the moves. They trusted him with kickoff returns. Lord knows you can take a whipping when you get a hit with those 250-pound man missiles coming at you on kickoff. I don't think they misused him at all. We all know that he had the most yards. He was the most productive running back second half of the 2017 season in the entire NFL. I'm a little surprised at the way that they used him in the Super Bowl. I did think they would use him more, but they couldn't do anything against that Philadelphia defensive front. They could not run the ball for love, sex, or money. Philadelphia could, because as we came to learn, they were not afraid of the front seven for the Patriots, which is why Belichick has addressed it with Samoa and Wilfork and more, and we'll get to what we're happy about with acquisitions in a little bit. But
someone will forget.
100%. That's what Shelton is. But I thought they should have used a little more Dion. At times, I sniffed from McDaniels in that Super Bowl. I sniffed a little bit of the AFC Championship against Denver. They got hung up on an idea of exploiting a weakness. They couldn't get off of it. It was too late, and they had put themselves in a hole. I wish Dion Lewis the best. He's awesome. I'm curious to see how they employ him in Tennessee, because Derrick Henry looks like he's starved for 20 carries a game. And now Dion Lewis may be relegated to a James White role there. And I think he's going to be getting more of a Dion Lewis in the Pittsburgh game, or Dion Lewis against the Jets kind of role. And I don't think that's what he's going to get, because Derrick Henry's a workhorse. So he's going to be a change of pace in a third down back with a big fat paycheck. Good for him. Once again, Bill Belichick. You're welcome, Badamosi. You're welcome, Dion Lewis. You're welcome, all these guys who come here, fill a role, get a national spotlight shown on them, and then get paid elsewhere.
And then are never heard from again. No, hopefully not.
Like their agents do, man.
Well, he's not going to Tennessee alone. Hey, I have that same mug. He's going with Malcolm Butler, which seemed like inevitable that Malcolm Butler was going to leave and get a huge payday. But I thought there was some interesting stuff that came out after Malcolm Butler left, in that, even him kind of saying, I don't know if I was quite ready to play in that game, which, kind of put a little bit of cold water on everybody's outrage. But also that the Patriots had offered him a pretty sizable contract last year. That wasn't that far off. I don't know. That's I don't know. But it just adds to the intrigue and the mystery surrounding that whole thing.
Right. Wouldn't you say though, Mike? Aren't you almost kind of glad? Because I am. I'm a little glad actually that the Malcolm Butler interview went the way that it did. With Jeff Howe talking about, like you said, cold water on the conspiracies and everyone's lava hot reaction to Belichick not playing him in Super Bowl 52.
Yeah,
I don't think he should have started. I don't think he probably should have seen the field the whole first half.
Exactly.
And they should have learned, and he should have been inserted. And I love the fact that Butler said Belichick, don't. He told the fan base that adored him so much and will always be grateful for the play he made and what he gave to the team for those 4 years. He told us, don't doubt Belichick because he took a chance on me, an undrafted kid out of West Alabama, in the biggest moment, and it paid off. And then he didn't believe on me. He took a chance not playing me, and it kind of bit him in the ass. Yeah, I'm just disappointed. Everyone's disappointment is with Belichick not putting him in the second half. Right. Then again, you know what? I hate to say it, but the guys he puts in, 2 or 3 plays, Jordan Richards doesn't let that kid go for 50 yards and get his junk handed to him on that play on that wheel route. Batamosi.
But see, that's the thing.
That tackle on Aguilar.
That's the one play. That's he brought it down. Butler makes that Batamosi tackle, and that they're punting. That's the moment where you're like, but one play. The other thing I was wondering too, quick question is Minnesota's defense is, everybody's saying how great they are, and they've had a good offseason so far, and they were shredded by the Eagles, and then the Eagles defense was also shredded by the Patriots, even though they won. Are the Minnesota and Philadelphia fans, are they lamenting their defensive woes like we are, or do they both feel great, even though they both got shredded at the end of the season? It's just kind of funny to me.
Yeah, Philadelphia fans. All that defense is done. They lost an important cornerback back to New Orleans, who we were all kind of hoping the Patriots might get, Patrick Robinson. But then it turns out they're gifted the other McCourty for no money. Yeah. And now for $2.35 million, Jason McCourty is going to do what Malcolm Butler did last season. So Belichick looks great. It's amazing how Jason McCourty comes in and puts a liquid Band-Aid right on that wound that it was open after the Super Bowl and it was healing on its own. It was just going to heal for a long time. We're like, nah, we got to feel this one. It's Malcolm Butler. And then he goes, and just when I feel like he's going to get ripped open again, it's going to hurt even more. The other McCourty comes in, and now we're like, hey, I'm looking forward to the little reality show on Patriots.com. I'm looking forward to the which McCourty is it anyway hijinks, and the fact that he's not bad. He played pretty well. Right. Now Butler may check. Is Butler going to check in now, Mike? Because everyone described him. Now you believe these reports, from a Bedard maybe, or hearing things from Giardi yeah, maybe Butler was a little checked out last year. Maybe Malcolm Butler did have his head in his next contract, and it bit him in the ass, and maybe that did factor into Belichick's thinking overall, in addition to how he felt about him physically heading into Super Bowl 52.
Yeah, I don't know how you can take anything else away that Belichick there was something off, and he just didn't seem like a Malcolm Butler fan for whatever reason. I don't know. It's just, if it all went back to the Gilmore thing and, he felt like he should get paid, but he didn't have a good season. That's pretty much undebatable. I think Butler even said it himself that he had a down year. So, I don't know. There were so many things going on, and you realize that there's so much going on behind the scenes that we are not privy to, and things get selectively leaked and sometimes embellished. So you don't really know what the truth is ever behind the scenes. But all I know is that I love Butler early on. I just thought he was their best young corner since Ty Law, better than Asante, just because I thought he just played aggressive and had that, I hate the word swagger, but he had that kind of swagger. One thing I will say though, the Butler that just always annoyed the hell out of me was he never committed a penalty that he thought was, oh yeah, the ref got me on that one. Or he never gave up a close catch that was actually a catch. It was always, everything was just no, that I didn't do that. No, I didn't. Just that kind of all those reactions. It wasn't ever just like, yeah, good play, I'm going to move on to the next one. He always kind of had something to say, but
right.
I'm going to miss him, but I think they'll be okay.
Well, there's every reason why you would miss him because of the attitude, because of the intensity, because of the play. That he became a star because of Patriots. Like, he's so closely associated with greatness. He's so closely associated with the fourth ring, that incredible victory, with Super Bowl history. Of course, how many millions of shirts are there around? The Butler did it, blah, blah, like Butler. I mean, that was like Welker even. Like, he just had a natural name. He had the natural fit. He had the natural attitude. He made one of the greatest plays. Everything about him seemed Patriot. This isn't like, Larry Brown winning Super Bowl MVP for the Cowboys 20 years ago and leaving. This isn't like Malcolm Smith, the unheard of linebacker, winning MVP for the Seahawks against the Broncos in Super Bowl 48 and then like getting paid to go elsewhere. Like, this is Malcolm Butler. He was a huge integral part of the team. And then he ran into the Belichick, what is the touring system or whatever? Like, what machine did Alan Turing decode in The Imitation?
Oh, yeah. It was Enigma. No, that was something.
Malcolm Butler ran into the Belichick offseason Enigma machine, and it just you don't win. You don't win against. You don't win against salary cap Watson. I hate to say it, you just don't.
Yeah. And
we have a question, Mike. Stacy Lowe wants to know. Are either of you surprised Butler went to Tennessee as opposed to Detroit?
It's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously with Matty P and then with Vrabel, it's they're kind of the same. I would. There's similar situations. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what would you pick? Who do you think is more likely to win quicker?
I love the Tennessee. I think the Tennessee roster. I already thought the Tennessee roster was pretty loaded. I thought that's where McDaniels would have or could have or should have gone if he was going to depart this offseason. They've got wide receivers, got a great feature back. Now they've got a second one. They have a decent secondary. Adoree Jackson is an up and coming cornerback. They've got some okay safeties. Got a good there's plenty of talent there. I always thought Mularkey was one of the most uninspired choices. Mike Mularkey makes Doug Marrone seem like Drake. I mean, like, so low intensity. He's so dodgy and traditional.
What is this Mularkey? I can't hear his name, but what is this Mularkey?
And like, you can even tell the way Tennessee felt about him. They're like, all right, we're going to give you a new contract because you took us to the playoffs and you steadied the ship and you won a game. Wait, hold on a second. No, the refs gave us that game in Kansas City. We never should have won.
Out.
You're terrible. And now with Vrabel, he's going to bring more creative schemes. He's going to bring the energy. He's got the defensive bona fides. I think 100% that's a great hire for them. You add a third solid corner who's got something to prove now. He's got his big check. He can post all of his awesome, sharp focus, $1 million outfit, private plane, Mac Beasy Instagram pictures now, and talk and act like he's got the swag and play someplace he should be comfortable. Good for him. Now, Patricia in Detroit, he's got a great cornerback in Darius Slay. He's got a good pass rusher in Ziggy Ansah, got some young linebackers. Okay, great. I don't know how I feel about it. I think Detroit, they're still wildly uneven. I need to see the rest of free agency. I want to see their draft. I'm very happy. Natural fit. Talk about a no-brainer for LeGarrette Blount to go there. No-brainer. That was the one we should have seen coming.
Yeah. That's an easy slam dunk. Well, let's stop lamenting who left and talk about who came, because
I'm going to lament it my whole life.
We're going to just cry for an hour. I mean, a little bit of a late start, but I mean, I think the Danny Shelton move. It was that was just kind of vindicating for me personally, just because that whole week everybody was just clamoring for Richard Sherman and Aqib Talib, and I was just like, really? Like, we have the most expensive, second most expensive secondary in the league, and you want to add one of these old ass guys when your front can't even, and then both those guys go elsewhere, and they bring in Danny Shelton, who was just a beast. I mean, a big guy, huge, fits in the middle of that line, can really turn around that run defense that was quietly very poor last year. It just gives you two big bodies, or a body to go with Malcolm Brown. I mean, I thought Lawrence Guy was good last year, wasn't as good as Alan Branch 2016, but now they've got, really solidified that rotation. And I thought Shelton was just the right move to kind of kick things off with just, big front seven body who can, really cause problems. And, geez, what did you call him? Simone Wilfork.
Simone, well, 100% Simone Wilfork. Now, you said it was quietly, but the run defense was quietly bad last year. It wasn't quietly bad. It was glaringly bad all season. Like, we knew it was bad right from the day. Look at this guy. Yes. Yep. I need that guy. I need somebody who looks like a football equivalent of a character from God of War on my team.
And 55 should be available, right? I mean,
that's right. Do that number proud in New England. Sorry, Eric Lee. Thanks for the one or two getting spun around like the practice squad top of Buffalo you were. Shelton's a great pickup. Also, but remember last year, who made the biggest run stuff in the AFC Championship against the Steelers?
Yeah, old friend Vinny Val.
Vinny Val, double V, 99 from Nebraska. He was out the whole season basically too on the Malcolm Mitchell plan. Mm-hmm. Now, if he can come back at 100% of whatever he's capable of, 80% of when he was at his best, he should be healed and ready to deal. You bring him back into the equation, pair him up with Malcolm Brown, Lawrence Guy, and now Danny Shelton, and all of a sudden a massive weakness becomes a strength on the Patriots this year. And maybe they'll be able to add a little depth to the draft and further free agency so that they can be prepared for when and if one or two of these guys gets hurt like they weren't last year. Alan Branch got paid, he got fat, and he got cut, and he got benched. And it sucks. And he got old, and we got disappointed. And that plays into the whole Belichick only wants to play with the guys that he likes. I'm sure he's a super guy, but if Alan Branch felt some entitlement after he got his big deal and had already worked so hard to get his rings, well, I don't want to speak to that because Uncle Phil did a lot of good for them. But Danny Shelton felt underused and felt misutilized in Cleveland. Now he gets to go someplace for a fresh start. Speaking of awkward online football videos, did you see Danny Shelton be introduced to Mr. Kraft in his office?
Yes, I did. I know. Well, I mean, I would say 90% of the videos I see with Robert Kraft, and obviously Mr. Kraft, we call him Mr. Kraft here, they're awkward, especially with Belichick. That was when last year all that stuff was going down about the tension. I'm like, have you watched any interaction between Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft over the last 15 years? It always seems stilted and weird, and Kraft's trying to talk to Belichick, and Bill's like, yeah. It's just always awkward. I don't know.
Right. Danny, it's we hear you're great at stopping the run. Would you like to take a look at all of these pictures? I've paid billions of dollars. Me and Mick Jagger. We're actually the same age, have the same penis length as well. His office, that was my big takeaway. It wasn't about how staged and awkward it was or how small Mr. Kraft looked compared to the man mountain that is Danny Shelton. I was just staring at his office like, oh, my God. There's a framed autograph picture of Mr. Kraft with literally every famous person in the world. I want that office.
In there. Yeah, right.
Gangster. As Georgie Kip would say, that office was super gangster. I like the defensive line. I love the Cordarrelle Patterson pickup because he's a great kick returner. I don't need 45 receptions out of Cordarrelle Patterson. I don't need him to run a bunch of, fly patterns. I don't need him be a receiving superstar. And I love Doug Kyde's tweet the other day, like, last time the Patriots traded or acquired a receiver from Oakland that had worn number 84, that, in Minnesota, whatever. That worked out. Yeah, the obvious Moss connection. That was very good pop tweet. It was very clever, but that's a great little pickup. That's a perfect little complimentary pick. And they paid nothing for him too, Mike. Nothing. They swapped round spots for him.
That won't stop people from complaining next year, though, if it doesn't work out and they're another, busts that cost you 5 draft spots, nothing. I think the other thing too with Patterson, it's after the Matthew Slater news of visiting Pittsburgh, and Patterson had such a good year as a gunner last year, and it's just you look at the things he can do, and it's well, he could definitely replace Dion Lewis as the kickoff returner. He's not really a punt returner. I know some people including, well-informed Tony Maserati, thinking he's going to, protect Edelman in that regard. Sorry, Tony. But,
I don't see him
receiver.
He's kind of gone, Mike. He's gone. Wow, what a shock that Felger and Maz didn't like the Patterson trade. Shocker.
You don't have to listen to the radio. There's music, and you can just read Pat's stuff otherwise. But he can replace Amendola a little bit, and then he could maybe potentially replace a little bit of Slater, who it's as much as hard as that is to hear, and then you get the people who are like, well, he's 33, he was injured all last year, and it's like, oh god, yep, he was,
but
and
when
he
he's
is.
healthy, he's the best. When Matthew Slater is healthy, he's still the best special teams player in the league. He is the heart and soul of that clubhouse. He is the moral compass by which the Patriots drive themselves off the field. You hold on to Matthew Slater. That's a gem of a human and of a football player, and especially a special teamer. You hold on to that guy as long as you can. Does Cordarrelle Patterson buy them Slater insurance? Yes. If they're both on the field, are they a better team? Absolutely, and that's fewer miles on the tires of Patterson if you still have Slater there. What if Slater comes back, and we're hoping that he was just visiting Pittsburgh to see how they would value him, and so he could get his market worth and kind of set a figure he'd be comfortable with.
Solid.
Why do you want to? He doesn't want to uproot his family for a year or two now. He's got his whole family's here. He's a community pillar in Patriots Nation for decades to come. But
Slater's so funny to me.
He's an insurance policy.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, if
Slater's so funny
hurt,
to me. Yeah. I was just gonna say, Slater's so funny because it's like everything you said, absolutely true. Like, just such a team leader. He does the little brewski breakdown and everything. Everybody loves him. Although I will say, I hate him as a receiver and I hate him as a kickoff returner. And whenever I see him playing in those roles, I suddenly go into white rage of not Matthew Slater. But anytime he's in any other role, I'm like, I love him so much. Wait, is he returning a kick? God damn it!
Well, because his fumble rate on kickoffs is 40%.
Oh, full speed into a tackler. That's just what he teaches. Just run that way really fast. He just.
And as a receiver, and I'm sure he was a golden god at UCLA in college, but as a receiver, every ball sails over his head. He stops his route 3 yards before he should, and every ball goes over his head.
Yeah.
However, when he guns down the field, he is there before anyone else, no matter. He's got he still has world-class Olympics track speed. He could never turn it into receiver money and receiver worth. But as a special teamer, guy's priceless. Yeah. I love the Patterson pickup. I think Jeremy, I don't know, God, what to expect out of Tobin. All I can hope is that he's
throw him in the mix.
Garcia or Waddle insurance.
Well, how about so Adrian Claiborne was another, that's one of the other big acquisitions. Throw a picture up of him. I think I really like that one. I mean, I just think they, you saw with James Harrison, they brought him in and he played the whole Super Bowl. I mean, they just needed so much help on the edge. They'll definitely get some reinforcements back with Hightower and Rivers, but I think Claiborne just gives you that kind of down lineman, really tough guy you can pair on the edge with Trey Flowers, working Dietrich Wise with in the rotation, but it just gives you that veteran presence. I don't even care about the sacks. I know everybody's like, oh, he had 6 sacks that one game. He had 6 sacks. It's 6 sacks. I don't really care about that. I mean, he's going to play the way they need. Tough guy. Put him out there. I think he's a really solid guy. Just kind of what this defense needed.
Yeah, good size. Still he isn't over the hill. He's not an unknown quantity that they believe there was unmined potential in, like a Marsh, who turned out to be a total bust and a non-fit. He was undersized. You need a bigger guy. He's 6'3". He's 280. He's almost D lineman size. He's James Harrison built. He's definitely not Debo strong. But Claiborne could maybe get after the passer. He could set the edge. He'll be able to definitely get a couple sacks. They'll just apply pressure. There was no pressure set against Nick Foles. Nick Foles is – while still, even after winning a Super Bowl, playing as well as he did, getting an MVP, I still think Nick Foles is underrated. But one of the ways somebody like that can continue to go under, someone who's underrated can perform way over prediction, way over what anyone thought he would possibly do, is apply no pressure to him. You give the best pass he threw the whole game was probably the 4th and 1 to Zach Ertz when the pick was set. When they were going down to score, when it was 33-32, it was 5 minutes left. That was the one play where Trey Flowers kind of got in his face, and he threw off his back foot and threw a dime to Ertz for 2 yards when they needed 1. Oh no, that was the best throw he made under duress. The best throw he made all game. Yeah, what's up, Campbell? How you doing, buddy?
Remember Campbell? You remember Campbell from he came on Pat Show. He's a little sick today, so he's hanging out with us.
What's up,
hi to Nick?
Hi.
How do you feel about the
buddy.
Patriots offseason so far, Cam?
Good.
Okay.
All right.
All right,
Somebody
bud.
who hasn't forgotten lessons learned in the past. Nice job, buddy.
Yeah, we'll be done soon. I'll come get you.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Go Pat.
He's the best. He's the best.
Yeah, I think
it's,
Claiborne solid. Best throw Foles made was that bomb that the one he threw to the running back on like 3rd and 6 or something like that.
Man. They just played lights out. I mean, it's just like I can't even be mad at it. You know? Like,
there was no pressure applied. If Derek Rivers comes in this season and just is able to generate 3 pressures a game, then he's already a massive upgrade over all the losses the Patriots felt last year with Ninkovich going, Chris Long going, obviously Rivers getting hurt, etc.
How about how you feel about? Go ahead.
I was gonna say I want to talk like I like the Claiborne pickup. Jeremy Hill may be able to come. He's not going to be Deion Lewis.
Yeah. Big boy,
bigger
again,
back,
low risk. Throw him in there.
You re-signed Burkhead, so now maybe this is Burkhead's year. Jeremy Hill has a super high 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 conversion rate, which is great.
Yeah,
which is something they needed last year.
Gillisley
sucked at that.
Him and Gillisley.
Remember how bad Gillisley was in the opening game?
I know. Well, he's just like I think Burkhead. Nick, we haven't even mentioned that. I mean, Burkhead till we're Burke dead. They re-signed your boy for 3 years. I mean, if he stays healthy, he could really be the guy.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's the plan this year is that Burkhead becomes it's Burkhead and Hill. It's the 2016 Cincinnati backfield all over again. I can't wait till they get Giovanni Bernard next year, and they'll have the entire 2015 Cincinnati Bengals backfield in New England, which will be awesome. You got Burkhead and all of his utilitarianism this year. He's my boy, the super Swiss Army knife. James White remains your steady 3rd down back. Bringing in Jeremy Hill for the big backyards. He obviously wants to come in here, have a great year, hopefully reprove himself, get a contract, maybe with New England, most definitely not, go elsewhere. Awesome. It's a great pickup.
Yeah.
I like almost every move they've made in terms of what they've brought in. It's more like the talent they've brought in can help shore up some of the deficiencies they had last year. I'm not really worried about replacing anybody except Nate Solder for the departures. It's more about the emotional losses we've sustained. We've got good draft capital. Pats can definitely make some great moves. Who knows who they're going to pick up. Going to make the draft a hell of a lot of fun. I think my big concern, Mike, as we, talk our way through all this stuff and we'd make it seem like, oh, come on, it's got to be, the loss of Lewis. Who's going to replace Dola's clutch? 3rd and 18, those catches in the AFC Championship. Edelman's coming back. You probably have Malcolm Mitchell hopefully come back. Get Jules. My biggest thing is like the Brady Gronk stuff. Like, is there I don't think it's as easy to discredit some of the internal dysfunction or some of the awkward feelings that have gone on because it's weird. There's something like my go-to line has been like something's rotten in Foxborough. Like it's a little
I just put the Giardi tweet up, which I think is, and one interesting thing about that is like, how's he making them feel unappreciated in the middle of March? Like that, I was just like, why is this coming out now? Like Brady's out in Montana, Gronk's dressing up like a leprechaun, torn in the South. Like, it just feels, I don't know. I mean, and like my other thought is like, these guys are all professionals. Like, at what point is Brady now just like, why won't Bill just appreciate me? Like, I don't know. I just, like, I get that they're like annoyed that he like coaches them hard or whatever, and it's been a long time, but doesn't winning solve a lot of that? Like, I mean, aren't they willing to put up with that? Like, at this point now, Brady's going to be like, I can't take it anymore, man. Like, all that kind of stuff. And like, and now the Gronk stuff with the WWE, like, who knows how true that is. So I wrote this week, I feel like, unfortunately, regardless of how true or not it is, or to what level this is actually true, we're going to be stuck with this one. We're going to be stuck with this one, just like we're stuck with Garoppolo and the comparison of should they kept Garoppolo and did they get enough for Garoppolo. We're now going to be stuck with Brady hates Belichick, and there's no way around it. And they could come out together, have a joint avocado summit press conference, and say, hey, we're all good now. We're all good. Tom feels appreciated,
the joint avocado summit. Yes.
They're just like cutting into it. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Unfortunately, it's going to be part of, when Tom Brady's dad talked about, it's not going to be a clean end. I mean, I think this is going to be part of it, unfortunately, and how true or not it is, this is it.
Massive egos are in play here. Massive, massive egos. And I think it would be foolhardy for all of us to think that either Belichick or Brady can subvert their ego or their want to feel either appreciated or credited for a lot of the accomplishment. And now there is a little bit of a power struggle. I find myself feeling that way sometimes. I'm not going to lie to you, dude. I have actually experienced it that night, and when I've thought back about Super Bowl 52, one of the things that has actually comforted me about it, not that I need comfort, for God's sakes, I'm a 44-year-old man with 2 kids and 2 cars. Whatever the cars have to do it. I'm supposed to be this grown-up person who shouldn't be thinking about stuff like this. But one of the things is Pats lost. They really should have. Another game they should have won. There's another one of those. If they'd done this and that, Brady would have another ring. He needs more than the 5 he has. I'll tell you, the fact that Brady plays well softens the blow for me. And I don't want to blame Belichick for it, because look at how much Belichick has done for the Patriots over 2 decades. But I think a lot of people felt the same. I think a lot of people feel the same way. They're like, well, at least Brady played well, but now I can just be like, yeah, thank God I'll never see Jordan Richards again and Badamosi's gone.
I know. So, it's funny because I think somebody on our show was a big fan of Badamosi for a couple of weeks there early on, but I won't say who it was. It might have been me, but I liked him early on, but man, he had a rough end. And as you said, I heard about, you're which made me glad that he left. Get rid of that guy. Later. Talk about locker room problems, but but Nick, what does Belichick have to do as we wrap up here? We get ready. What can he do to win back the locker room?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
He's doing just do you, Bill.
He's never, and that's the thing. We know he is the kind of guy who will never actually do something. He's never going to have a speech. He's never he said in an interview a couple of years ago that the ability to change, to understand that you need to let the younger kids take cell phone breaks, or you got to coach certain players differently. Christian Fourier has come out and spoken on the radio. I've heard him and other players say everyone thinks that you go there and all you do is get yelled at and you get talked down to and you get treated like a piece of machinery and meat. And he said it couldn't be further from the truth. He's not like that. But he does think and does believe, and I think with good cause and reason, that he knows more about football than pretty much everyone that's walked through those doors, studies those playbooks and takes the field for him wearing those uniforms. And I believe it too. Just because we're all fans, we're super fans who spend part of our week putting on internet shows or TV quality shows on the internet, making goofy videos and writing awesome, well-informed blogs. Just because we're fans. We have to I don't have to agree with everything he does. I'm allowed to disagree. I'm allowed to not like things. I can hold a grudge too, but guess what? Day's end, shindig wrap up. I still respect the accomplishment massively. All I want him to do, go back out there and have him do him. That said, the way that he maybe treats Brady or Gronk, I'm not going to worry about the Gronk thing now. He'll get over it. He'll be fine. Yeah. The Brady stuff, that would sort of be like if for some reason Scorsese just, dressed down Robert De Niro on the set of a movie one day. You know what? I'm pretty sure if Brady, great directors always have their go-to actors they work with. And who's to credit for this amazing movie? The performance of this actor or the direction and, steady craftsmanship of this director? It's both. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But sometimes that director doesn't need to remind the actor how to act. You let him do him. You take care of you. And last I checked, Bill, you may need to spend a little more time in the huddle working with B-Flow with Brian Flores, your new untitled defensive coordinator. Last time worrying about Brady McDaniels.
Yeah, I'm excited about a little transition there, a little new blood, little all that kind of stuff. He's not giving him the title yet, and keep him away from the media. We'll see if it's still kind of, how's the defense going to evolve? Same kind of thing. Ton of yards, not a lot of points. We'll see. It's maddening to watch, but yeah, well, I think this went pretty well. I hope. I don't know. We're feeling it out.
Hey, Mike, before we go though, give me your either next move you see them making or something you want to see addressed before the draft. I think I know what it is, but at the same time, because you study the depth better than anyone else, for God's sakes, you curate the Hoodie database and you put out depth charts every other week in the offseason.
Is the Hoodie question?
I think I know what it is, but here.
Yeah, well, there's got to be left tackle. I mean, I would love to add Fleming and let Adrian, your buddy, back. Throw them boboth back. I know they were visiting Dallas yesterday. Especially when you just made this newfound friendship. I feel like, you got to get Adrian back. And I just like to see more linebackers. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest weaknesses of this team was just, covering the flat and having to use Jordan Richards and having to use safeties. And, now Shea McClellan was cut. So, I mean, that does damage. And you're looking at Landon Roberts and, I mean, my prototype, and this is stupid because it's, he's an amazing player. Luke Kuechly, even Bobby Wagner, those kind of guys, those mobile middle linebackers who can kind of, just take some of the pressure off the safeties and still bring a physicality in the run game, but also a range in the passing game. I think, if you want to upgrade the defense right now, that's the kind of player you need to add. And I know they don't grow on trees and, it's hard to draft one. But I think that's kind of the missing element to the defense still, as I see it.
I couldn't agree more. And that's exactly where I thought you were going to go with that. That is a glaring weakness. That's a Grand Canyon-sized chasm of a weakness on the team. It was exploited every game all year, from wheel routes, crossing patterns, pick plays, everything. There wasn't anyone quick enough, strong enough, and intuitive enough over the middle to make those plays for the Pats, and they got picked apart all year. I was hoping maybe like a Preston Brown from Buffalo would have maybe come into the equation. He went to Cincinnati. There was that kid from Tennessee that went to the Jets. I don't think they have huge money there, but maybe they'll be able to find either another hybrid safety linebacker. Like I think there's that kid Sua Cravens who got a couple concussions, who played for Washington and I think is going to be looking for a new team. They need some linebacker help. They do. They need depth through the draft, and maybe do they bring Kasich back in? I'd love to see it.
For sure. Well, I think that'll do it for our inaugural shindig, and we'll try to figure out how to get these onto Facebook. What do you think, Cam? Anything to add to the party? No.
Like what party?
The Patriots party? No.
The Pats party, kid.
We get to go to the doctor now and see what's going on.
Oh, wow. Well, take your medicine. Do just like all Pats fans did after the Super Bowl, buddy. Take your medicine. Work on your pliability. Avoid the inflammation. No nightshades. And yes, world, we get it. Tom Brady hates strawberries.
Cool. Well, it's good to catch up with you, Nick. And thanks for everybody who tuned in. And hopefully next time it'll go a little bit smoother, and we'll try to get it on Facebook and keep it going through the off season before we can get back in the studio.
What are you talking about, man? This was great. I enjoyed the hell out of this. I love every chance to talk Patriots. As a matter of fact, this is almost therapeutic for me in a lot of ways. Hopefully we can do it more. And big moves happen in the offseason. We should check in again here on the Shindingo, whatever this is. Thanks to the internet. Thanks to Mark Zuckerberg for listening in and exploiting all of us and our friends and targeting ads at us. And go Pats. I'll talk to you, buddy. All right.
Bye, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.